727,002.
Well, I'm checking.
Do you need a third?
Yeah.
Okay, for the 727,003rd time, or in shorthand, for Lena Goot, your cumulative mark can only make your grade better. You cannot go lower. I put it on check my mark in the quiz section so it doesn't change your grade, but it still is there so you can see, oh no, I got 61% on cumulative 1, which means when it is time to study for finals, you'd better spend a lot of time on units 1 and 2.
What if you get good and you still put it in the quiz section?
Oh my God.
You might have to go for another time.
The next person that does not understand my marking philosophy that is written in the outline and has now been explained 727,004 times will get a 45-minute detention so it can be explained to them. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Mr. Mark.
So, should any of you ask me anything about marks again? No. Unless you have 45 spare minutes. And since a great many of you can't do your homework because you're so busy, I guess you're not going to have 45 spare minutes. What are the exact trigonometric ratios for sine, cos, and tan? Since you have an x and a y, and you know sine equals y over h, and cos equals x over h, and tan equals y over x, you can fill them all in. Tan, 6 over negative 8. Cosine, negative 8 over 10. Sine, 6 over 10. All of those are acceptable. Of course, you should simplify them to 3/5, negative 4/5, and negative 3/4 to do it properly. But I will accept the 10s.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
3 marks. What am I saying? That's only knowing one thing. 1 mark. Any questions?
No.
Excellent. Marco is 450 due east of the park. Ray is 450 due south of the center of the park. What is the correct expression for the exact distance between the two boys? Why did I write all that stuff?
Expression.
East, south, 90, 450, 450. What's the distance? All that stuff is there as misdirection, like a magic trick. What is it?
Square root of 1, square root of 1.
Done. 1 mark. An angle is in standard position such that cos is 1 over 9. Standard position means the initial arm lies where?
First quadrant.
On the positive x-axis. Thank you, Jalem. Well done.
Jalen's always on fire.
Since cos is positive, it can only exist in 2 quadrants. Which 2?
4 and 1.
There and there. Since its cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, or x over h, that's the 9, that's the 9, that's the 1. What are the possible values of theta? 1 theta is there. How do you find that value? Shift cos 1/9 equals. Once you know that, what is it?
84.
84. Then what do you know that is?
The reference angle.
The reference angle, which is 84. So the theta is 360 minus 84, which is 266. 76. 2 marks, because you actually had to know what a reference angle was. the point, negative 5, 7. Negative 5, 7. That gives you an x and a y. Determine the primary trigonometric ratios for A. A is in standard position. Negative 5, 7. There is angle A. But when you do any work with it, what are you going to find? You'll be finding that, correct? So what are the trigonometric ratios? Well, you can't do the trigonometric ratios without the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the square root of 25 plus 49, which is the square root of 74. Now you can do it. Sine root, not root, that's on the bottom, 7 over root 74, cos negative 5 over root 74, tan 7 over negative 5. That gets you, I hate to say it, but I'm giving you 2 marks for A. Are we still on the first page?
No, second.
Crap. First page is out of 2 then, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there is A for 2 marks. B, same sign as A, but different signs for the other 2. The other 2 are negative, whereas the only place the other 2 can be positive. Over there. 5, 7. So determine the primary trig ratios. So B is 7 over 74, root 74, 5 over root 74, and 7 over 5 for 1 mark.
Wait. It says the other ones, or does it say?
Determine the primary trigonometric ratios for an angle B that has the same sign as A,
For the other 2 trigonomic ratios, so that would be
but
cos
different
and tan.
signs for the other 2.
Yeah, and so that would be just cos and tan because the
Yes.
sign is the same.
You needed those 2.
Oh, we're good.
And C, what are the 2? What is A?
126.
126.
54.
And B is 54 for 1 mark. Yeah? Questions? Is that the end of the page?
Yeah.
Then I think the page is out of 6, is it not?
I'm on fire.
For sign to be negative, it must be down here or down here. This has to be 2. That must be negative 1, which makes this root 3, which means that is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Biggest angle, 90, across from the biggest side, 2. Middle angle, 60, across from the middle side, root 3. Smallest angle, 30, across from the smallest side, right there. If that's 30, what's theta? 330. If that's 30, what's theta? 210.
Yeah. Wait. I have
2 marks.
I'm thinking, where did I? What's the added instead of? Oh, I subtracted instead of added. Subtracted the wrong reference.
Consider angle A such that cos is 12/13. Cos is positive, so where must A live? Second and first? First and fourth. First and fourth. Because cos is positive. If that's A for 1 mark. B, for sign to be negative, where must it be?
Quadrant 2 and 3.
No.
What?
No. 4. Only in 4 can cos be positive and sign negative.
Or were they both negative?
That's what the question says. Only quadrant with positive cos and negative sine.
It says it's
If the sine of the angle is negative, in which quadrant is the angle? The cos is already positive. I've already told you that.
that's right.
1 mark. C, sketch the diagram. Which is it? This one. For 1 mark. D, find the coordinates of a point on that angle, on that terminal arm. Well, you know that this is 13 and this is 12. So you know that point is 12 comma something. What is it? Negative 5 for 1 mark. And E, the other two primaries, you already know cos. Sine equals negative 5/13. Tan equals negative 5/12. 12ths. That's a fun word to say. 5 marks. Ya, ya? Ya, ya, ya. Determine the length of E right there. Sine cos law. Which one? Which one? Sine law. 8.2 over sine 75.
That whole page is out of 5?
Sure. If that was the only thing on that page. It's out of 7? Okay. Equals E over sine 58. 8.2 sine 58 divided by sine 75. Whatever. I'm not bothering to get out my calculator because that's the only part of this unit that matters to me. If you can't make that go on your calculator, that's your problem, not mine. They're all going to be out of 1. You're only using 1 law. But since some people need to see an answer, what do we have? 7.2. Is that corroborated?
Yes.
Excellent. Determine theta. What are you going to use?
Cos law, but
Why cos law?
because we have
You have a pair right there. You have a pair.
yeah.
Why would you use cos law?
Obviously on data.
Why? 5.2 over sine 54 equals 5.4 over sine theta. 5.4 sine 54 divided by 5.2. And then what do I do to that whole thing?
Sine.
Shift sine. What do you get? 57 corroborated?
I got 57 too, but I took the long one.
Yeah, taking the long way around. Determine the length of D. Since it is D in cos law, I always use ABC. D is really C, right? So C equals the square root, because we're in pre-dip, so we can get rid of that squared right now. It's the square root of the cos law, right? 8.6 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8.6 times 12 times cos 55. And what do you get?
10.
10 exactly?
Well, you get 9.97. Then you put
9.97? Great. And that's corroborated across the board?
Yeah.
Lovely. And the last one. Determine the measure of theta to the nearest degree. If theta is what we don't know, that's big C, right? So it is cos big C equals 24.6 squared minus 27.6 squared minus 23.4 squared over negative 2 times 27.6 and 23.4, close brackets. What do you do at the end of all that? Shift cos. And what is it? 57? Corroborated? Great, that page out of 4. All right, let's do some drawing. Salvage vessel.
I did this one upside down because it screwed with my head.
Salvage vessel. On the water. Yeah?
It says the ship is
The sunken ship is directly below it.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Y'all ripped up cells. Yeah.
Just like in the Goonies. It's not the Flying Dutchman. It's One-Eyed Willie's ship. Right?
I've seen the Goonies. It's
the greatest movie ever. No, it's not. Princess Bride is. Goonies is good, though. The angle of depression. Where is the angle of depression? So right there, 29.3. And the other one is 47.5. If that's 29.3, what's that? 29.3. What's that? 47.5. If the length of the ship is 143 meters, 143, how far beneath the surface? So you need that distance. How do you find it? Well, the first thing I would do is I would use sine law to find this. Correct? How do you find that? Red theta? Well,
180 minus.
X, yeah, you don't need sine law yet. So 180 minus, what's that? 103.2. Yeah? Now, once you have that, you can do sine law, yes? If you do sine law for this side, you then use SOHCAHTOA trig with that and that to find the height. If you do sine law with this side, you use SOHCAHTOA trig, and I shouldn't use blue.
There's no line.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there, yeah.
Then you use SOHCAHTOA with 29.3 in that. Doesn't matter which way you do it because you're going to get the right answer. But regardless, you have to do 143 over sine 103.2 equals either x over sine 29.3 or y over sine 47.5. Once you have that answer, you then do regular SOHCAHTOA trig, right? What is our height?
It's where did it?
I've heard of 53 meters.
Yeah.
Is that corroborated?
Yeah.
That's going to be out of 5 because you had to do a drawing. To get the full 5 marks, you need a drawing that works. Apparently, Luke's bottom of the ocean is in the sky, but that's okay.
I don't know why I draw things upside
You
down.
need to have done some sine law. You need to have done some SOHCAHTOA trig. If you have done all those things and you got 53, you get your full 5 marks. Now, my man Chang, you guys have done this question similarly on the quiz, but I changed it slightly because I always have a big argument with my students every time I give this question because they refuse to do the one thing I told them to always do, which is what? Round at the end. Because everybody rounds in the middle and then they get an isosceles triangle of 45, 45, 90, 13, 13, and 18, which isn't correct. So Chang goes from Centerville directly east to Eastdale for 13K. Then he makes a 135-degree turn. Now, if none of this was here, then what direction do I turn going east? Clockwise. I would turn to the south, yes? But all of that was here. I head northwest. So I would have kept going this way. That's the 135. What's this? 45. And I do that for 18K till I get up to Northcote. Then I head home. So now I need A, total length of the race. So I better find C from coastlaw, yes? C equals the square root of 13 squared plus 18 squared. minus 2 times 13 times 18 times cos 45. Now, when your calculator does that, all you are going to get 12.73 blah. Right? If you do not leave the whole answer there, you are not going to get it right. So, you're going to write 12.73. Yeah? Now, when you're adding up the whole distance, as long as you have something around 43.7, I'm happy for A. To find the angles, you must be more careful. Correct? This number, you got to use the whole thing, as many decimals as possible. And it's sine law. So it is 12.73. You can write out a whole bunch, or you can leave that number on your calculator, depending on the kind of calculator you have. Over sine 45 equals either 18 over sine C, right? Northcote or Centerville, in which case you get like 89 point something, which means this has to be 46. And that again will be worth 5. I write that question that way on purpose to show you what happens when you start rounding whenever the heck you want. Does everybody understand? All right? It comes back to, if I want the rocket ship to hit Mars, I better not round off a whole bunch of decimal places here on Earth. Because on Earth, you're going to be a millimeter off. But when you've gone 10 million kilometers through space, that millimeter has been multiplied 10 million times, right? And a millimeter times 10 million is 10 million millimeters, which is 10,000 meters, which is 10 kilometers. And your rocket doesn't hit Mars. And you spent $1 billion to do nothing. Essentially $1 billion to get a bottle rocket that you could have had for 30 cents. Making that last page out of 10, and I think it's over, yeah? So that's 10, 29. When will you report that score to me? On tomorrow's test, right beside your name. Tomorrow's test will cover a very tiny bit of SOHCAHTOA. Actually, I lie. I'll make it easy on you guys. I'll flip it around. We'll do a lot of SOHCAHTOA and little of the other stuff.
Actually?
Just do a little unit circle, everything else is good.
Yeah, yes. I agree. I agree.
The test will be tomorrow. You will have the entire hour. Okay? Get here at 8:10, not 8:15. Aight? Aight. What are we going to do for 9 minutes? You're going to practice your trig. Go. I'm not giving you any more. Just learn it, live it, love it. You got 9 minutes to change that saying, lots of everything but a little bit of unit circle, to give me some trig.
Harvin, I think it may take more than 6 minutes.